hit the record because I always forget that. And so we're gonna wait for people to come on in the room. So if you're in the lobby, head on into the room for What Did Prince Do This Week? We're waiting on you. We got Sydney B in the house. First in the chat. That's what I'm talking about. And all right, people are coming in. We got Theo, we got Christina. We see our What Did Prince Do This Week regulars, as well as our symposium attendees. We got Patricia, we got Chris Aguilar Garcia. Can't wait to see your Around the World in a Day tattoo later today. And we got Arlene. Yeah, you saw Chris Aguilar. He has it around his arm, like all characters from
Really?
Around the Day.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
I saw this in person.
Yeah,
we were just texting each other earlier, so that's great. I didn't even know about that.
Yes. Okay, everybody's coming in. Like the numbers have kind of stopped moving, so we're gonna get started with a little theme music just to get this party started, and then I also need to find my slides. Here we go, so I can make sure I got. Yes, slide. Okay. And that's a slave song for those of you who don't know.
It's also sliding across the stage.
Yeah. Chili sauce.
Let's call it your chili sauce from now on.
Yes. Okay, I got to turn this, I got to click this button so you can hear the music.
Hey, man, you got a job.
All right, that's all you're getting because we're having issues with Zoom and audio and echoing, but we always start off with a little madhouse. In reverence to Eric Leeds, who joined us yesterday for the Family Roundtable, which we were so excited to have them join us. And today we have a very special guest, the man of 4 years, as C. Lee said, Mr. Duane Tudahl, the author of the book we read. That's right.
Thank you.
Did you not get the assignment?
Yeah.
All right.
How you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Hey, man. Wonderful, brother. Wonderful.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thirsty.
How does it feel to be? How does it feel? I don't know if you watch, but you know that every Saturday somebody is talking about your book. That's got to be something for an author, like to know.
Crazy, but I also know that it's not about my book. It's not about my book. It's about the information in the book, and I just have to be the guy that dictated it. But yeah, it's every time I tune into you guys, I try to say hi when I tune in, just to let you know I'm here, just say hi and stuff like that. But I can't tell you how exciting it is every Saturday. Every Saturday morning is my time with my daughter. But I always make sure that she walks in the room, she sees me watching you guys. It's like, that again, Dad? Yeah, that again. So that's our daddy-daughter morning. So we always go out that morning. So I delayed it till Sunday to this week because I want to be on here. Because I love these symposiums. I love these things. These are just, first off, I want to make sure everybody knows how much work Dee does.
Right.
I know Dee, and I know how busy she gets with this stuff. And she's just overwhelmed. And all the people that work on behind the scenes, this is just freaking amazing. And Michael and Ricky and Celie and just everybody that does something on this thing. It's just, I can't say enough things of praise. And it all goes back to Prince. That's the bottom line. Somebody's got to be talking about Prince right now. And you guys are picking up the mantle. So
yeah.
That's what's it.
I just want to say though, I know the brother Tudahl is being humble and I get what he's saying, but you know, there's what you do and how you do it. And so, yes, it's about Prince, but it's also about the work and the research that you did. So, I mean, you know, if it was a crappy book, we wouldn't be reading it. It'd be real clear.
I know that's right. Yeah, no cosign of mediocrity.
you get that old Baptist church. That's nice, baby. Bless his heart. Bless his heart.
Thank you. But no, but I don't think anybody's sitting there saying, what did Tudahl say? You know? I don't think they're doing that, but thank you. Thank you very much, Freddie. Anyway, enough smoke up my butt. Let's.
So, I mean, we only have an hour, and as if our regulars know, sometimes this goes like for 3 hours. So,
It'd be like church up in here.
yeah, we
Mhm.
have a lot in a little space of time, and I want to do some logistics really quickly for those of you who weren't with us for the first session. And if you're new to Zoom, if you look at your top right-hand corner, there's view and a grid. And if you click on that, you can either look at the speaker, which is the person who's speaking, will be really big, or if you want to look at everybody at the same time, you can click on gallery. And then if you want to have both the best of both worlds, we don't have that option on here. Okay, never mind. They don't have that option. Okay.
Mwah, 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 mwah.
Another option that for whatever reason is not here, which is kind of crazy. So that's one thing. The other thing is, before we get started, again, we do this every week on Saturdays at noon on my YouTube channel, as well as Michael Dean's YouTube channel. And we are this book, and it's really important that you read the book. So Duane, how can people get this book?
There's two ways. First off, it's available on Amazon and everything like that. But if you're looking for a signed copy, I've never actually released the signed copy on my website. But if you want the signed copy of the paperback, which is this one, and along with that, this thing, you got the book. You can just email me. It's Duane@DuaneTudahl.com, and I will instruct you how to do it. I'm going to start putting them up on eBay, signed and personalized. And it'll be the same price as my website and everything like this. But I just have never gotten around to putting them on my website. So if anybody wants to get the paperback and follow along with this, this is the one to get. And just email me. It's again Duane, DUANE @DUANE Tudahl. Well, you can see it right there. But just Duane @DuaneTudahl, and I'll get back to you about that. So thanks.
Hey,
Thanks
Duane,
for asking it.
are there any posters left?
Ricky's been asking me for the poster for I don't know how long. How long I've been asking for a poster.
Okay, just a reminder, brother. You know, so just
I'm not selling the posters. That's the thing. I'm not selling the posters. So I will reach back out to you and figure something out, man. I'm sorry about that.
Hey, look,
I'm
looking forward.
Scalp deep in a lot of stuff.
I'm looking forward to not only the new book, but say the new book cover, because you do a great job in picking covers for both books, man. And so I'm curious to see what image you grab for the third installment.
Well, I've got a few things planned. So just a little background of where I am with my book stuff. I'm still hoping to get the book out by the next time you'd need it, which is beginning of 2027, is it? Yeah. So if you guys are going to continue with your Saturdays, which I know there's a party is thinking, don't come out with a book. And there's a party going, I can't wait. So I will let you choose. I'm hoping to get it out by then. And I'm doing 87, 88. I'm thinking about even 89 in there. Because that would cover Batman. But there's tons of stuff. It's almost overwhelming how much is in there. I've also got a couple other projects I'm doing before that one that I'm hoping to announce, not real soon, but in the next several months, that might come in between those two. So a lot happening. So I'm very excited.
It's overwhelming is a good thing.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing to be. Not a bad place to be.
You said 2027?
I think I'm hoping the beginning. So it hits the beginning of it, so you guys can continue.
Yeah, that's like we're for this book.
Yeah,
it's gonna be 25 and 26, Michael Dean.
Is there any way like we can maybe like you can set up a subscription where we can read it a little early?
What I would, and I promise you guys this. I promise you guys this.
Like crack.
If I can't make it out by January 1st, 2027, I will feed you guys information so you guys can go through this. Because I want to be able to continue and make sure this goes on. It's a lot to cover, but I want to make sure that if there's any sort of gray area in there, that I can feed you guys the weekly, and that might make people be more interested in looking. But that's my goal, is to have something so that I can go stick, like that, relaying with each other.
I'll cut your grass, Duane.
That's what's keeping the book. Is I got so much grass to cut.
Cut the grass.
It's all about
kudos,
grass.
Kudos to you, brother, man, for doing the work, man. It's
sure, for real though, yeah,
really,
man.
So greatly appreciated. I mean, you have books that will be read for a long time.
Yeah.
For a long time, man. People will, reference these these volumes.
Oh, shucks.
I
Yeah,
mean,
for real,
I,
man. Like
yeah,
these are thick, man. Like this is a lot of work. You're on your third one. That's
yeah.
wild.
And you're doing from like 87 to 89. That's
I'm
whew.
hoping to do 89. I've got 88. I've got it mapped out, and I've got a lot filled in. But I'm still doing interviews. I've got a lot of interviews to continue because this is, and I've said this before, but this is a new era because the revolution basically is over at the end of '86. There's a lot that ends, and so the new book is Sign of the Times, Love Sexy, Madhouse release, Jill Jones release. All these things are new and don't always necessarily involve the people from the previous books. So it's, the new team, as D'Angelo's called them, the band that had no name. This
Okay,
is interviewing all them, and they've been very open too. All these guys have been great people. It's fun because sometimes I'll reach out to somebody and say, my name is Duane Tudahl. I'm trying to interview, and they already know about the books. But I try
that's
to
good.
get.
I have a question for you, man. Do you ever have a kid in like the Willy Wonka chocolate factory moment where you're just like, oh, I can't wait till they read this information?
Oh, daily, daily, daily.
Wow.
There's so many things I look through in here going, oh, this is gonna be really cool. I mean, for example, there's an interview I did with somebody who I've never seen interviewed before for the next book, and that's in the early stuff. And there's just a lot of things that I find when people are very open and and nobody's talked to me, nobody's contacted me, and so it's kind of fun to when people get a chance to talk about the stuff. So that makes me very happy, and I like giving a voice to people. And sometimes people say, why did like Elton John write your foreword? And I'm like, because he has nothing to do with Prince. I'm like, it's Elton John, and if he wants to talk about Prince, I'll step back and let him talk for days, And there's other people that worked with him that people haven't really reached out because they didn't get the press that some of the people. So the engineers and assistant engineers have told me stories that they remember because they were only there for a few sessions, so they can remember specifics. Whereas if somebody worked 100 sessions, they may not remember it as detailed, but somebody worked 5 sessions may go, oh, I remember that was my birthday. And he baked the cake for me or baked a lemon cake for me, so, you get some of that. So little code there.
Okay, Duane.
Okay, the lemon cake.
Next week is the recording of Lemon Cake.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's actually coming up. So I have one question for Duane in the chat, and unfortunately, we won't be able to get to a lot of questions for Duane because we really need to get through week 15 because this is actually a really important week. It is the last date of the Purple Rain tour. But I want to ask this question for Theo, one of our What Did Prince Do This Week regulars. And the question to Duane is, how has reading the studio sessions books influenced your relationship to the music from this time period? Has it shifted your perspective on a particular song and or album? And
Yes.
And Theo says also everyone else. So if in the chat, if you want to talk about it as Duane is talking about it, that would be really fantastic.
In a nutshell, I'll do this quickly. Yes, absolutely. When I hear insights of people say, I was there for this. That's why he did this. This is what he was doing. Or this was a longer version. Or we've heard outtakes because things float around for years. And you go, oh, that's why this song was different. Why do you re-record it? Why is the sax different? Eric will say that. Or different people say that. It's fun to me to hear. And it does change my perspective on it. And because for several years, I was lucky enough to be working for the estate and finding some of these things that we'd heard about and putting them out on the box sets. That was kind of, that to me was a mission, is knowing what's out there and what exists and looking and Sherlock Holmesing this thing to find out, where these things are. And that was what was fun about that. But with the books, yeah, it changes my perspective completely because our whole part of after the revolution broke up in this book, that Prince is laying down some shade that I did not realize until I started looking at it in perspective when he's singing, singing about other people wanting just the money and stuff like this. And you're going, whoa, that's kind of rough to hear that might be the case. And again, all this is speculation at times. Everybody has their psychological views of what Prince was thinking and doing, and only Prince knows this stuff, and nobody's able to get into his head completely. And there's going to be things that I find out later that might not necessarily be as accurate. I mean, there's the thing we're going to talk about today when we're talking about the Miami show, that Alan Leeds gave me a story that the stage was sinking because of the rain. And I just literally heard an interview with Hucky on the Electric Vibe show that said he was sunny all week. So I don't know if it was the rains from before that was sinking the stage or what, but there's going to be different perspectives. And it's always, to me, good to hear all the different sides, because I think all five of us are searchers. We all want to find the truth of this stuff. And sometimes it doesn't always agree with us because we go, oh, that's not what I expected. That's what he's saying. Okay. And so there's something liberating about finding out the truth and knowing, okay, I can either now accept this and realize I may have made a mistake before, or I can just lock on the mistake. There's going to be kind of things that we all go, oh crap, I did not see that. How could I have missed that? And sometimes I think Prince leaves clues so obviously that we miss them completely. And the funniest thing to me is hearing when people say, oh, well, that's what Prince would want, or that's what Prince thought. Yeah, I that's great.
Want to bet?
Psychic like that, but I can't be that. So yeah, but yes, it's changed my view of the music, changed my view of the fandom, changed my view of the musicians, changed my view of the studios. I've gone to a lot of studios and just sitting there in this room thinking the ghosts of these songs are on these walls, you know, and the wood soaked up the energy of this, and not just Prince at studio at Sense of Sound, but the Doors and most of the Beatles recorded there. I know you sit there going, so much history happened in these rooms. It's like going to a building in Washington, D.C. and sitting there going, so much has happened here. There's just the ghosts and spirits and the sense of all these things that were there. It's hard not to be inspired. And then when you realize, like somebody asked if I've interviewed Kat. Yeah, I interviewed Kat a couple times. And I'm very sad that she passed away. But I'm also very grateful that people not only speak to me, but speak to D'Angelo and speak to Michael Dean and speak to all these different podcasters out there that get these things out there. There's people out there that get interviews with specific people that don't talk. And I'm always grateful to watch. And I'm one of these guys that watches almost every podcast all you guys do. It's good for me to know this stuff. And I transcribe everything. And that's alone draining. That's a full-time job right there. So, and thank you for the people that help me with that stuff.
Yeah, AI tools are getting really good though at transcription.
Yeah, but they're still missing things. It's like you have to go through and double check everything because it's like
definitely have to double check.
You're never going to have quite exactly. So I spend hours, or somebody else does, and making sure that, because if you're going to quote somebody, you want to quote them. You don't want to. I've seen people quote me and they miss something, or or things like this. You got to be very specific if you're going to be you're using somebody's words, because you could easily violate them, and I don't want to do that.
Of course. So I'm going to get this party started because our timekeeper has already told us we're 15 minutes. Really haven't even started.
Kim be on it, boy. She don't take no days off, no Saturdays off.
So this is week 15 of What Did Prince Do This Week? And then we've already talked about what it is. I'm going to go through, but we do go week to week in the book. And you can follow the detailed schedule. We actually have a schedule of how we break it down, what you're supposed to be reading week to week to stay up to date. And you don't need the paperback, but this is the most updated version. It has the circle in the corner. But if you have the Old Testament, the hardcover, you're still okay. That just means you're an OG. And then these are archived at Polished Solid as well as at MDean. Obviously, we're on Zoom this week, but next week and all other weeks we'll be there. This is our hashtag WDPDTW, and then you can email us if you have any like photos or articles or anything you'd like us to share. And this is not related to the estate of Prince Rogers Nelson. This is an independent endeavor. And we have community guidelines. We choose to be a community even when we disagree. And that's also the community guidelines for the symposium. And what we played at the top of the hour was a little snippet of Madhouse 15, because this is week 15 from the album 16. And that song is rare, and that is more than just Prince and Eric Leeds. It's also, oh, I'm sorry, I put up the wrong one, but it was also Sheila on drums. And I mean, yeah, it was Sheila on drums and somebody else that I can't think of right now, because I know that
Levi.
Yeah, Levi. That's right, Levi. That is, we had those two. And why can't I? Here we go. Here we go. So
I was hustling your tabs on your.
what did I have on my tab?
Trying to check your search history. What's in your search history?
Yeah, let's see what D'Angelo could be looking at in her downtime.
Yeah.
This is my tabs. Prince Vault, Amazon, Substack, and that's pretty much what's going on right now.
Hey,
All right.
hey, if the FBI investigate the answer, they'll be, God damn, all this Prince.
That's what it's gonna be. So this is the 118th episode of What Did Prince Do This Week? This is our third year, as Duane mentioned. This week, I forgot to change that, should say week 15, because I ran out of time, is one live show, and it was Miami, Florida on April the 7th, which is a Sunday. And then he took vacation with a lot of other folks to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And then
Woo. I know
on,
what that was like.
yes,
Oh, yeah, it's in the book.
it's
in
in
the book.
It's in the book,
in
boy.
the book.
Hold on to your weaves.
Yes. And then on Friday is the release of the We Are the World project, which Prince has a song on that was not mentioned in the We Are the World documentary. They had all this shade for Prince, and they never even mentioned that he contributed a song. So that was released on the 12th.
Man, it's like a conspiracy against my guy.
Yeah, but what's crazy, Ricky, like in real time when I bought this, because I was only 14, and this is like when I was saving all my lunch money. It was really painful to buy this album because it was only one Prince song,
Yeah.
and I had to buy it. And so, like, I was like starving myself for this one Prince song, and it was worth it. But I was just like, sometimes I couldn't buy the album and the 12 inches at the same time. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's get started. We're gonna read about Miami, Florida, and who's gonna do the reading for today on page 77.
The Saturday, April 7th.
Yeah,
Sunday, April 7th.
you got
All right. Venue, Orange Bowl, Miami, Florida. Capacity, 75,500. Goodness. 53,083 attended. You want the Bobby Z quote?
skip it just for time.
All right. Prince traditionally ended his tour somewhere between March and early May. So scheduling the last performance on April 7th at Miami's Orange Bowl or Purple Bowl, as printed on the tickets, was not surprising. What was unexpected was that the tour was concluding on Easter Sunday, which upset some of the religious leaders in Florida who protested the event and wanted the concert rescheduled or called off completely. Quote, city officials refused their petition to cancel our permits, so they were limited to picketing outside the stadium. That's a quote by Alan Lees, and he continues, nobody paid them any attention. Nothing was about to break our purple Easter egg, end quote. Excuse me. Prince and the band ignored the threats from the protesters and jammed for the tour's final sound check, running through known songs like Erotic City, Something in the Water Does Not Compute, 17 Days, James Brown's Body Heat. What's happening, Eric Leeds? BB King's I Got Some Help I Don't Need, referred to as Blues in G. And by then, unreleased numbers, Strange Relationship, The Ladder, and High Fashion. There were several loose jams, as well as the sound check staple Controversy, which was blended with the as yet unreleased track Mutiny. Prince started the show wishing everyone a happy Easter and followed it with My Name is Prince, and I've come to play with you. One last time. He started the first show in Detroit almost exactly 5 months earlier with practically the same introduction, but during that time, the set list evolved to reflect more of his newer music. The concert was preceded by the as yet unreleased For the Tears in Your Eyes, played on the PA, and Temptation, which was introduced as being from the new album Around the World in a Day. But it wasn't just the tour that had changed. So had Prince's focus. The show was an ending and a new beginning into uncharted fame with a blank sheet of paper to fill. The Orange Bowl was the first outdoor venue of the tour, so everyone was on edge because of the rain that had been drenching the area and the gray overcast sky that threatened to cause further problems. As Alan Leeds recalled, you want the whole quote?
No, we're going to stop it there for this portion. And that's why you need to buy the book so you can read the rest of this date, because there's actually a lot more that we won't be reading. One thing I want you to know that we do an accompanying playlist, and fortunately, D68A on YouTube has posted a lot of these shows. So actually, if you want to hear that that sound check, which is actually really amazing because I was listening to it this morning, and because we had just talked to the family yesterday, it was just so amazing to hear mutiny, high fashion. It was just like it's so great. So I highly recommend that you listen to that sound check. And again, if you go to my YouTube channel, which is at Polished Solid, you go all the way to the bottom and you can see the accompanying playlist for each week. Okay, so we're going to move forward. This is what the tickets look like. Most of the tickets look like. It had the bass behind them for Sunday, April 7th, 1985. And you can see Wear Something Purple, the Purple Rain Tour, Purple Bowl Stadium, which I love instead of Orange Bowl. Thought that was really brilliant that they did that on the ticket as well. These were the t-shirts that some of the staff wore. And you can also see that they had crossed out Orange Bowl and they've put in Purple Bowl. And then here are some images. I really wanted to start with this because I'm so grateful that Jelly Bean was able to join us yesterday for the keynote for the family. But all of these images are from Miami, Florida for that show. And
That wave shag.
Yeah, yeah.
Bean got on a full suit in Miami. Woo, boy. I know he was hot.
It was on his trick.
yes, and to the right of him is actually Craig Rice.
Sure is.
That is him, isn't it?
Sure is.
See, you
A
play
young
ball?
Craig Rice.
yes.
Look like my dad.
There you go. Big pimpin'.
Yeah.
Yes.
Grown men.
The name of the bodyguard that's to the left. I don't know who's in the middle. If anybody knows who's in the middle, maybe somebody in the chat knows who's in the middle in both places.
I thought that was my man, Frankie Avalon for a
Hey,
second.
man, is that Brown Mark?
Brown Mark.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
Brown.
looks like him,
Yep. And I'm trying to get my chat so I can see the chat. And then here's like sort of the stage setup. Here's
Wow.
pictures of it. And
Those are speakers.
Yeah.
Ah, that's just crazy.
But it was thumping.
Yeah, man.
that joint thumping, boy.
God, I can imagine what that would been rehearsing and being able to just like hear your music broadcasted like that. That's fantastic.
I didn't go to a celebration last year. Did they play part of the Miami show there? Or not?
I don't think they did. I was there, but I don't. Maybe somebody in the chat.
I don't know.
I feel like they didn't, but I could be wrong. And then this is like a front view. Now, what would have been incredible, and this would have cost a lot of money, is if these orange chairs could have been purple. That's incredible. But
yeah, what is the Orange Bowl? So hey,
They had to change it back, so that's even more.
Somebody in the chat said they did play it.
Oh, okay. Thank
Cool.
you. So yeah, it's like I don't know why the celebrations are always a blur for me. So it's really, I should do what Darlene Nisi does, which is actually take notes. And
shout out to Kanisa Phone Home.
Yeah, shout out to Kanisa.
yes. Kanisa should be joining us for our next symposium, which is actually going to be in September. It's called 30.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
30 years of the gold experience in Exodus.
Oh, yeah.
Exodus. So if everyone wants us to do it, we're going to do it. So here's some images from Prince and the Revolution from the Miami show. I love this shot.
Yeah, so that's been a circulated photo.
Yeah.
That'd be a good poster too.
Yeah, it would be a good poster. And this one.
Looking back at this time period, y'all can laugh at me, but I was naive. I thought they dressed like this all the time. So seeing them in like regular clothes, like off stage, is like shocking because I thought they just wore like ruffle shirts and like colorful gear just all the time, like 24/7, like that was their thing.
Well,
Mm.
they boss did. They boss dressed that way
I was
all
gonna
the
say
time.
Prince did.
Yeah, yeah. But like I thought, like even with the time,
Everybody else.
you know, like even with the time and Jam and Lewis, like I thought they just wore baggies and
Right.
suits like all the time.
He's the only one that gets away with it, though. Everybody else that wears it looks kind of odd. You know, looks like it's just not natural for him. It's like me showing up with a big ruffled shirt. You're like, who's that dork? Either Adam Ant or Prince. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's like the episode of Seinfeld where he was dressed like Prince. He had on like the ruffled shirt.
Yeah.
So I always love seeing crowd photos. So here's a crowd shot from Miami, and Y100, I'm assuming, is a radio station. I love the drawing that someone did on,
Mm.
They ain't got nothing on you, D'Angelo.
oh, thank you. And then here's another shot, which is great. Everybody,
Got the roses in the air, man.
Yeah.
Love it. Look, it's Aunt Trudy over here.
There you go. There you go.
Trudy.
it's in the Miami Herald. I'm not going to read this, but I just wanted to. I love that he got so much coverage in this newspaper. But I am going to read a little bit from this next one, which is from Miami News. And it basically, well, first of all, I love that you get to see the stadium and where there's no seating and where the Purple Circle's $100 seats were located. Like there's a lot of information that people had going in. And I want to read this from here. It says, we will have between 140 and 150 uniformed off-duty police officers in the parking lots outside the stadium, at the gates, and directing traffic. So 140 to 150. Fleming said the officers also will help some 200 private security personnel. So in addition to the 150 police officers, there's 200 private security personnel who would be searching fans going into the stadium. Walter Golby, Orange Bowl stadium manager, said the security people would be on the lookout for the usual no-nos. No cameras, tape recorders, or video equipment, no bottles, cans, or coolers, no alcoholic beverages, no umbrellas, no food. We're using more security with this concert than we did with Michael Jackson, said Fleming. The Michael Jackson concert was a little more of a family affair, so we knew quite a few parents would be there. They usually keep the kids a little more under control. Prince's Appeal is around the same age, but the parents probably won't be coming this time. Orange Bowl concession stands will be open before and during the concert. Golby said anything confiscated by security before the concert can be retrieved the same night afterwards. The hottest item may be umbrellas. And then there's a lot more here. And also on the symposium website, which is bookclub.polystyle.com, you can actually see the slideshow and read more details in some of the articles because we don't have time to read everything every week, as well as today for sure. So here's another article from the Fort Lauderdale News. I'm going to read a little bit from because it's about some of the fans who attended. And you can see at the bottom, there are a couple of fan photos, which I always love to see. And I'm going to start with this quote from Jason Krause, 17, of Boca Raton, Florida. He makes you want to move. And then friend Dana Weintraub, 16, he's disgusting, but he's good. His royal stylishness was decked out in his usual go-for Baroque attire, cascading curls of hair, ruffled shirt, and whirling cape-like coat. His fashion inspired similar sartorial splendor in his audience. Purple reigned supreme in clothing this night, purple over black leather, purple under white lace, purple over purple, purple mohawk hair, and purple-lidded eyes. The tickets, after all, instructed Purple Bowl Stadium, Wear Something Purple, the Purple Rain Tour. Raquel Fortner, 11, of Lake Worth, wore a lavender leotard on top and only black lace tights on the bottom. Not only did her mother know Raquel was out in public, thusly attired Her mother actually made her the outfit. Raquel and company traversed 1.5 hours of highway early. They got to the Orange or Purple Bowl at 10 a.m. It was well worth it because they caught a glimpse of his royal mysteriousness practicing in the thin, empty arena. That's interesting. I would have never thought about that. Like he's out in the open, he has to do a sound check. So I would go anywhere for him, breathed her friend Karen Romano, whose long purple fingernails contrasted nicely with her green and red Gucci watch. And the fact that this was Easter Sunday, which caused consternation among Miami City commissioners who worried the sexy star was not proper holiday fare, made little difference to this crowd. I've
Lord.
been waiting 2 years for this concert. I feel bad, but Easter will be around next year, and he won't, said Cindy West. Speaking of Blake,
Jesus will be here next year. Don't worry about it.
Been around for a couple thousand years.
Lord.
Funny.
Oh man.
Those
West,
wild times.
very wild time. Sunday also was Mom's birthday, Cindy said, but this, after all, is the girl who has rented Princess Purple Rain movie on videotape so often, the store finally taped her a copy of her own. That's impressive.
How old is this person watching this?
It was
How old?
16.
Okay. There's some
Yes.
stuff in there that's maybe not for an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
He prays in his music, Cindy concluded, but it's not exactly what's on the minds of most fans of his royal bawdiness. I liked him before my daughter did, said Brenda Good, 32 of Palm Springs, attending the concert with said 15-year-old daughter, Honey, and he's just my height too. He's 5'2" and I'm 4'11". It was this 95th show and a 5-month tour to be Princess Swan's show. He has proclaimed that he would take some time off from performing after this concert. I love this article. So I'm glad that I had an opportunity to read it because I think it's a hoot. All right. So next up is, I'm not going to read this just for the sake of time because we're already out, but it's like more about the crowd. And you can actually see more images from actually I showed those 2 images in particular. And then this is another article, and I just really wanted to show this. I'm not going to read it because he actually has on one of those Louis and Vaughn shirts that you could buy from the merry-go-round, and also the jacket. And we talked to Mr. Von Terry last year during the Erotic City 40 Symposium about this. So if you want to know more about this, you should go to my YouTube channel and watch that keynote because it was amazing.
Do those jackets ever turn up on like eBay or something? Has anybody ever seen anybody trying to sell one of those?
I haven't.
Can they find 5 of them for us?
Hey, look, I'm kind of surprised that man, the ruffled shirts like haven't made been sold like in the
Right.
I'm in a state or something like that or whatever. Because I'd figure people would kind of.
Well, now that you
It's
say
still
that,
time.
I was gonna say, don't give him no ideas.
you check the website.
Yeah. So this is still in Miami. So I think this was like before the show. I don't know that to be true, but I think that's the case because this photo had a date on it, April 7th. So this is Prince in his heels on the bike. I'm sure some of you have seen this image. I always love seeing Prince out in the world on the bike. Like I love these images. And then because we talked to Susanna yesterday, I thought I would show this image as well, because this was taken during the Miami portion as well at the Coconut Grove Hotel.
The Coconut Grove. I know.
That's Coconut Grove. And then obviously I love the contrast of Susanna in her bathing suit and Jerome in his suspenders. I think
This pimping don't stop, baby, just because I'm on the beach.
Yes. All right. So let's talk about this vacation. Who wants to read about Rio? And that's like roughly page 80.
I can start it. All right. Thursday, April 11th, 1983. Prince was about what was happening now. But just as important what was happening next. Excuse me, but just as important was what was happening next. Next tour, next song, next project, next look. It kept him vital and kept others from catching up to him. Hmm. A trip to Brazil was planned with Prince, Jerome Benton, Steve Fargnoli, Alan Leeds, and several of Prince's bodyguards to relax with a stay at the Caesar Park Hotel on Copacabana Beach. But even before the trip, Jerome recalled that Prince was already busy planning the next year, and he explained it to him as the tour wound down. We're going to do this movie. I'm writing this movie, Prince told Benton. This is what we need to do. We're going to travel. We're going to Rio de Janeiro. We're going to go there and spend about 7 days there. Oh, 7. Oh, really? What do I need? A passport? That's all you need. On the first day of the vacation, practically everyone in the group wanted to relax on the beach. And when Prince finally decided to join them, he was wearing silk pajamas and high heel boots, as Alan Lees recalled. Man, I wish I could have seen that. If they ever do a movie, you have to show that scene,
Yeah.
just the transition. We ignored the PJs and said, Prince, you can't go down there in boots. You'll twist an ankle in the sand. Randy Landerman, Prince's chef, then pulled out sandals and various beachwear she had brought him for the occasion. He looked at it and turned up his nose. I'm supposed to look like this. I'm supposed to look like this? Rather than try to convince him he'd be okay on a beach in shorts, t-shirt, and sandals, I chose another approach. You don't want to be recognized and spoil the chance at some fun, so for once, dress to blend in with us regular folks. He reluctantly bought in. Trunks and t-shirt went on under his clothes, all except the sandals.
Let's skip the Alan Leeds to give people something to read. So you
Okay.
can buy the book, but let's go to the last paragraph.
His friend, David C. Rifkin, remembers Prince's rapid turnaround. He said he was going to Rio, and like 3 or 4 days later, I'm standing in the club in downtown Minneapolis, and all of a sudden, he's standing right there. And I went, I thought you went to Rio. And he says, I got bored. In 3 days. What do you mean you got bored? I laughed my ass off like crazy. Prince,
Hey man, so I wonder if Rio might have been considered, I know before Nice, France was in terms of filming
Under the cherry-
filming a movie.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting had like Under the Cherry Moon been based in Rio
It would have been a
instead of France.
vibe.
Yeah. Did and I probably don't remember, was it ever discussed somewhere like what spawned the pajamas look for him? Like,
So actually yesterday during the family's keynote, I actually asked, like who came up with the idea of the pajamas for the family? And Susanna replied, it was because Prince was wearing pajamas all the time at this point.
Yep.
So that still doesn't answer like why did he,
Yeah.
I should have like doubled down and asked like, well, why was he wearing pajamas all the time right now? But I didn't do that.
Hey, well, he started a thing because I know C. Lee. I probably know this, but in school and colleges, man, we used to have pajama parties all the time, like pajama jams. Um, it's kind of strange to think about it now, but like I don't remember prior to him doing that. I don't know if that's a direct correlation with that, but I do remember like after that, you see like parties and people would have like pajama jams and stuff like that. Even a house party too, they had like a pajama jam party. So it was a big thing in college for a while. People used to host like pajama parties all the time.
Yeah, I never put two and two together. I knew about the college pajama parties, but I never knew that I don't know. I wonder when that started. Someone should know in here.
I would also add, I know someone was talking about him not sleeping, but as someone who, how can I put this? Let me just say it this way. Pajamas are a cool way to be both comfortable and stylish in your house. Like I'm one of those people that I do think a lot about fashion, my own particular fashion and style, but I also think a lot about comfort. And pajamas are not necessarily about sleeping. It really is about housewear. And for people who are thinking about housewear and thinking about so yeah, and someone put like leisure wear. Pajamas have always been a fashion statement. And I think so it's not a stretch that or for me to think about Prince embrace, particularly, you know, silk. My mother and father always wore like silk pajamas. And so I just think that that was another of when you put about Prince is going down to the beach in pajamas and heels. This is a person who is thinking about and being a dandy, whether consciously or self-consciously. Prince was a dandy, and so pajamas was another way of extending that. I'll shut up.
All right. So we're not going to read about We Are the World because everyone should know about We Are the World. If you don't, Google's like Michael. But we know that Prince has a song on We Are the World called For the Tears in Your Eyes, which is an acoustic song. So if you haven't heard it, you definitely want to listen to it. It's a great song. And also the video is really amazing. It's in black and white. And you know, I never thought about the video being in black and white being an extension of Under the Cherry Moon being in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought about that. You see, we have these epiphanies, like when we come together, you know, epiphanies happen. Okay.
You know, on just on one thing, I'll just say this about that documentary. I just think it's disingenuous because they knew he wasn't coming.
Yeah.
So you can make us think about him not being there, but I think you should at least say we knew he wasn't coming, and Lionel Richie was just making a last ditch effort to get him to come. I think that's a clarification that needs to be made. I'll shut up.
I will say something. I agree with that, but there is, you can see through the rest of this book is a lot of it is the ripple effects of him not showing up because he didn't show up for that. He writes a song about it. He's apologizing that in 2 or 3 interviews. He seems to be recognizing that his infallibility at that point got a dent because he didn't show up there because it's a charity event. And I understand why he didn't show up. I'm not going to rank on the guy for, you know, not showing up, but there was a lot of pressure against him after that. And so for the next several months, you know, like I said, he wrote Hello, he wrote, you know, other things like that. He seemed to be contrite about and trying to make sure people understood why he didn't. So, and I don't think he really had to explain it. I think it was more the not showing up was one thing. It was the event that happened afterwards with the bodyguards that I think was the tipping point.
Yeah, that was.
If he's not going to do that, it would be fine. You know.
I agree with Brother Tudahl. I would only tweak. I never took hello as him being contrite. I took hello as him being F you.
Oh yeah, but that's true. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, no. I'm saying other. Maybe that's that song, but he did talk about other things. He said I was, you know, I couldn't be. There were too many big people in that thing. I would shut up and things like this. He was kind of saying I couldn't deal with that. It was too much. These guys are so great. I would be clamming up. Yeah, the hello was more of an F you.
Right.
I can totally see that.
This is kind of where the backlash to Prince sort of starts.
Right, right. And I think that it's an interesting turning point is that we forget about the fact that the stuff happened with the bodyguards afterwards. And then Chick left, and it just seemed like there was a spiral after that. And you, again, there's an interview out there with Hucky, and he's talking about how once Chick left without notice, just gone. And it's fascinating to see how this thing can change because we all see this as being one big smooth thing, and it's not. You recognize that they've got a schedule, but they're kind of making it up as they go along when people drop out and that to replace them and stuff like this. So yeah, very fluid.
Yeah.
All right. So that gave me a moment to change my error in my slide because we are 15. And so far in 85, and actually that was the final show. So for 85, 61 live shows. Obviously, that's not all for the Purple Rain tour, but for the ones that were in 85. And you can see that at the top of the year, started off in Dallas, Texas, followed by Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, Texas, and I'm not going to read through all of these. And then we get to Miami, Florida. All right, so just really quickly, if you haven't had an opportunity to see the We Want the Funk documentary, I highly recommend that you watch it. It is directed by Stanley Nelson and Nicole London, and Stanley Nelson is a director who directed Miles Davis' Birth of Cool. And if you haven't seen that, you should watch that too. But Prince is in this, and I was so thrilled to see that they actually used footage from the America music video, which is one of my favorite things Prince has ever done. And of all the things that they could have selected for Prince, they actually chose that one. I thought was absolutely brilliant. There's so many folks in here. I think it's really important to understand Prince in the context of music history, and this really does a great job. Obviously, starting off with James Brown, and going into Parliament and P-Funk and so many others. So definitely watch it. You can watch it, like just Google We Want the Funk. There's also, you can find it on the YouTube channel for PBS. So if you go to youtube.com/PBS, the video isn't called We Want the Funk, it's called something else, but I highly recommend that you watch it.
And you're excellent in it.
Oh,
Yes.
it's not
Yeah.
about me, but it's definitely about, funk to me is
Everything. Funk is everything.
funk is everything, and they do such an amazing job, the directors, in actually showing that. So if you haven't seen it and you love music, it is a must watch. I can't stress that enough. Okay. For those of you who follow What Did Prince Do This Week, I'm a massive Bilal fan. And so they're trying to get a Webby Award for their Glass House performance, which is where Bilal performed his 20, like Bilal has been out for like 20 years and he has such an amazing catalog. And you can see Questlove and Common, Robert Glasper, and I can't remember the other musician, but please vote for them because right now they're in 4th place. And because that is very amazing performance, that live at the Glass House. And then Bilal's on tour right now, so please support him because he's the best. And then on April 20th, Corey Henry is out in LA. If you've never seen Corey Henry live, this is a great thing to do. Last year, he actually was in a Brooklyn church for Palm Sunday. It is one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I'll never forget it. And I was really hoping he would come back to the East Coast, but the West Coast has it. So if you are on the West Coast, you definitely want to go see Corey Henry Presents Church, and which was his not final, but it's his last album. Everybody should know our beloved Chris Robb, who's a part of the Purple community. And Chris Robb actually has been performing with Slum Village. They've already been at the Blue Note earlier this year, and they were at the Blue Note last year, but they've been called back by popular demand. So that just shows you how amazing Chris Robb is. And he's supporting Slum Village. And if you don't know who Slum Village is, it's a project that the late, great Jay Dilla, JD, one of the again Fantastic Volume 1, one of the greatest albums ever recorded. And then
real quick, Chris got something coming with Warren G too. I saw he's
oh
doing a show
really?
with Warren. Yeah, it's a G Funk. Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God. Yeah, Chris Robb has been working it like a job.
yeah, he's a man.
That's one, yeah, for sure. And I got something else, Chris Robb, related to announce in the Prince section. And then there is an upcoming, I'm really excited for this, Cosmic Music, The Celestial Songs of Alice Coltrane, featuring Robbie Coltrane and Flying Lotus at Carnegie Hall in May. Very excited about that. And then for the Blue Note Jazz Festival, it's going to be Grace Jones and Janelle Monáe. If you haven't seen Grace Jones live, you gotta go see her. Like, she's in her 70s and she has more energy than I do. It's like she is an extraordinary performer. And this is the entire lineup, but we don't have time to go through this because we only got 6 minutes. Omar is coming back. And if you haven't seen Omar, if you don't know who Omar is, do your Googles. He is a UK legend. He rarely comes to the States. This is his 2nd time coming this year, which has never happened. So if you missed him the first time, you want to go see him the 2nd time. I'm going back because it was an extraordinary performance. He's coming out with a new album this year as well. Let's get to the Purple World in our time left. Chris Robb has just announced, I'm so excited for this, that he is doing a Prince tribute on April 21st at the Chelsea Music Hall. So if you're in the tri-state area, you want to support Chris Robb and Robert Whitman, who is the amazing photographer and the photographer of the image that you see in this picture of pre-fame prints. He has a book called that, Pre-Fame Prints, and he's going to be selling prints there as well as having a gallery exhibition. But we're also going to have amazing live music from Chris Robb.
Wow, I wish I could see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, hey, ask Brother Rob to put up like a link where we can purchase the
Yeah,
live stream.
man.
He can have my money from Mississippi. Tell him I send it to him from
Same
Mississippi.
here.
Tell him live stream. Go ahead.
Yeah,
All right.
most
Yeah,
definitely.
when Chris be doing his print stuff, man, it's cold. And you say he's doing the deep cuts, man, we gotta see that.
Yes, 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 yes. So for those of you who didn't join us for Triple Threat 40, amazing performance with Chris Robb doing all the songs from 1999. What Time Is It? Benny Six. We had Tammy Sharp on stage. We had Chinesha on stage. So many amazing. And then to top it off, Jill Jones came on stage and did Lady Cab Driver. It was so awesome. And then when we did our first virtual symposium during COVID for DM40 GB30, when we celebrated 40 years of Dirty Mind and 30 years of Graffiti Bridge, Chris also did an amazing live stream of Dirty Mind cuts. And it was during the height of COVID. And I couldn't believe he did it for us. But, you know, everyone like took the test and made sure they were okay. And it was such a really special time. Only you know how special it was if you were there. So it was really, really amazing. I say all that to say, when Chris Robb performs, you go. And when Chris Robb performs Prince, you gotta go. Like it's so incredible. So I'm so thrilled that he's doing this on April 21st. All right, and then we talked to the family yesterday. They are going to be in the Netherlands, in Utrecht for the Purple Jam with Candy Dulfer as well as Shelby J. I know that this date has sold out. It sounds like there are some other dates, but I'm not quite sure. I haven't had time to look because of the symposium. Maybe somebody in the chat will let us know.
And
So
I wonder if Edgar's going since that's in his
I
his
wonder.
home city, his area.
I thought Edgar was doing something too. Maybe you about to show that. That's where I saw he's got.
Oh yeah, Edgar's doing something later today. That's one. Yeah, unfortunately I don't have it because it's hard to do all this stuff at the same time. And then everyone should know they've announced that the family is going to be at Celebration this year, as well as Jesse Johnson, as well as Morris Day, and the time based on the last time I read anything about it. So that's really very exciting. And tickets are now on sale for Celebration. So if you want to see the family live, this would be a great opportunity to do so. They are always amazing, amazing. And look at us, Kim, timekeeper. We are at 12:58. Can you believe it? All right. So Michael Dean, well, before you take us out, Michael Dean, Duane, is there anything you'd like to say? And thank you so much for being our very special guest.
Oh, it's always a treat. I love getting back here as often as I can. Next week is going to be really cool for what's going on with Prince because they're starting the Parade album and, like you said, Lemon Cake and a few other things like this. This is when he really starts doing it, which is to me indicative of how he was. He barely has got his album out and he's already working on the next album. And he has a cut of that done within a week or two of that. And then he ends up adding mountains and things like that later. But he's basically got his next album mapped out in the next week or two. So it's just, the guy's insane. The guy had so much energy. I wanted, if people are wanting to get this book, again, the paperback, if they want to get it, because I haven't really put it out there. I'm going to put it out on eBay eventually with signed. But if you want to get more information about that, email me at Duane@DuaneTudahl.com. That's right there, DuaneTudahl.com. And I will get back to you about how to get that. I'll do personalized signing things and everything. That always happy to. I just never got around to putting them on there. So, and I don't want to take up the last minute. So go ahead.
All right.
As CD would say.
So just in the chat, if you liked what you heard, and this is just more like an appetizer because it's only an hour, You could join us every Saturday at noon Eastern time, either at Polysolid on YouTube or at M. Dean. It doesn't matter. It's streaming at the same time. All right, Michael Dean, take us out.
Work it like a job. Thank you, Duane. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Celie. And of course, thank you, D'Angela. And thank you to everyone out there. Enjoy the rest of the symposium. We're just getting started today. So let's go.
All right, thank you so much. And next up, we're taking actually a lunch break for a whole hour. So you got a whole hour to get. I'm starving, so I got to.
Okay, go fix me some grits, eggs, and bacon.
Yes,
Boy.
but at
Shoot.
2 o'clock, we are going to have the 4U crew plus one music snob
Woohoo!
around the world the day roundtable. So you definitely want to come back because that is Zaire Lee, Anil Dash, Miles Marshall Lewis, Elliot H. Powell, and Arthur Turnbull. So you definitely want to come back. But go something.
Just
Mashed
know
potatoes,
if you
gravy.
just know if you want to hear a whole bunch of different opinions, this gonna be the panel for you.
Yeah, and y'all better keep it 100% real too.
Yes, they do.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right.
All right, y'all.
Bye. I'm ending this session.